Welcome back to Neither Again. I'm continuing. I have already put up the first video for you. This is video number 2 for today's lesson, which is again 20th of May that we're talking about. So I'm just carrying it forward from the previous video. So far, the son had said that I don't mind dying. I'm not afraid to die if we're all together. I could find no words with which to respond. The father is so overwhelmed by all those feelings that his children, his son, is so beautifully standing up for himself and a support for his parents. So he feels that there are no words that can put his beautiful feelings into those kind of words which will express them. So he says that I didn't know how to respond, but I left the children's cabin determined to fight the sea with everything I had. And his son's faith in his father and the fact that he wasn't frightened to die if they were together, that egged the father on to do his utmost and more than that to get them out of this situation. To protect the weakened starboard side, I decided to heave to with the undamaged port hull facing the oncoming waves. So he decided to change the direction a little and bring the undamaged side towards the storm so that it could take the brunt of the storm. It could face it. So using an improvised sea anchor of heavy nylon rope and two 22-liter plastic barrels of paraffin. Now an anchor is normally, it is an inverted T. It looks like something like this, and then it has the heavy pole in the middle. So this is what an anchor looks like, and it is made of iron, quite heavy, and when a ship drops anchor into the sea, then the ship doesn't move here and there because the weight of the anchor keeps the ship steady near the port. It is generally when they dock. They had lost their anchor. That meant that nowhere they could steady their boat in a certain place. So now to do that, they made another makeshift anchor. And how did they make it? They took two plastic barrels of 22 liters each. That means 44 liters of water those barrels could take. So the weight was at least 44 liters. And there were those paraffin barrels. So they tied it to a heavy rope and they made an anchor out of it to drop it into the sea. That evening, Mary and I sat together holding hands as the motion of the ship brought more and more water in through the broken parts. So as the ship kept rocking and the water kept gushing in, they kept trying to throw it out. So for some time, the husband and wife, they both sat together, just being with each other. We both felt the end was near. He says that it was that one time when we thought that we were actually going to die, and this is the end of the entire thing. Our lives, family, everything, we won't be able to survive this. Now in life, you have many such times when you face these kind of odds where you think that it couldn't get worse. But I have this very nice theory that I stick to. If you're alive and God gives you a responsibility or a burden to carry and you're alive, it means that God knows you can carry that burden, solve that problem, go through that storm and be victorious. Please have faith, because the day your burdens increase to a level which is more than what you can carry, you will die. When God knows you are not able to do it, you won't have life to do it. So the basic thing is, if you're alive, you can do it. That is a very simple theory that I follow. I have faced a lot of problems in my life, and every time I have told myself that I am being given these problems because God knows that I can work through them. If He thought I couldn't, He wouldn't give it to me. So when God has faith in me, why should I doubt myself? If the supreme power has that faith, then I'm not going to doubt myself. I'm going to work through this and I'm going to get to the other side and work it out. So here now the husband and wife are sitting and thinking that it's over. Nothing is going to change now. But the way Walker rode out the storm, and by the morning of January 6th, with the wind easing, I tried to get a reading on the sextant. So they sat through the night, they waded the water out, they pumped it, they talked about something, they didn't. And then they realized it is morning and the storm has actually become less ferocious. And then the father tried to find out where they were in the entire world. So he tried to get a bearing and pinpoint his location. Back in the chart room is the place where they keep all the maps and the charts and the calculations, everything when they need to plot their route or find out where they are or anything which is related to the route of a ship. I worked on wind speed changes, of course, drift and current in an effort to calculate our position. So if you have ever, there's a beautiful book called The American Sniper. It's a very interesting book, and it is the story of a very successful sniper from the American Army who had been posted in the Middle East, and he had a lot of success stories to talk about. So it is his own account. Now, when a sniper is supposed to be targeting a thing or a person or a target, so they will fire from a long range, and that fire is going to be very calculative. They're going to sit and calculate that at this, if you know the way the wind is blowing and how it is going to affect the bullet which I fire, and what is the resistance, how much time, and how much I have to adjust to the target so that it hits properly. All these things the sniper has to take into consideration. In the same manner, he is now trying to figure out that with this kind of wind speed and this storm, how much off course we would have gone if we were going on this course. This was our way. So how much we would have gone this way, that way, to exactly find where they were. So he started calculating, and then he started calculating the changes, the drift in the current that had changed due to the wind speed, in an effort to calculate their present position. The best I could determine was that we were somewhere in 150,000 kilometers of ocean, looking for a 65 kilometer wide island. The situation was quite grim and very difficult. So he realized that he is looking for a needle in a haystack. He's looking for a very tiny thing in the wide ocean, which is 150,000 kilometers wide, and he's looking for a place which is just about 65 kilometers wide. How is he going to find it? The chances are quite slim. So while I was thinking, Sue moved painfully, joined me. His daughter, she came, and she's in real pain, so she walks slowly. The left side of her head was now very swollen. This had all swollen up, and her eyes were blackened, narrow slits. So her eyes had actually swollen so much that they had just become slits like this, even thinner. And he looked at his daughter and he felt how much pain she was going through. I'll cut the video out here only because again it's going to take a long time to upload this much of the segment, and in case required I will be posting a little bit of the audio also for you today so that we can carry back the work forward, and of course a little bit of the writing portion, as much that we have covered in the story so far, so that we are in sync with the writing work as well. So tonight then again, thank you for listening so patiently. This is Mrs. Mundi signing off from the lesson of 20th of May. Tonight then, bless you.